I can take the words out of your mouth. If I'd have played running back, you never heard of Jamal Lewis.
Exactly.
Yeah. I still believe that to this day. No, I'm just playing. No, I was just joking around with the guys. I definitely couldn't have been a Jamal Lewis for sure.
When did you start to assert yourself as a leader? There's a lot of talk that you got to be a junior senior. When did that characteristic fall in line for you here at Tennessee?
Probably my junior year, when I really got my feet under me and started to feel confident about my play, and just trying to set an example of going out playing hard week in and week out. And the guys just kind of allowed me to do that, and I just took on that role and became the vocal leader of our team.
Was the halftime speech in '97 in Atlanta the way that your teammates describe it?
Yeah, it was probably it's a family show that we do here, so I know we can't talk about exactly what was being said at that time, but I'll say this: my mother probably wouldn't have been proud of me at that moment, but I was in the moment, and I think we needed it as a team at that time.
Was that the first time you'd really done that in front of everybody? I know you had led all year, but was that your kind of come to Jesus moment with the entire team for the first time?
No, I don't think so. I think we had a few situations earlier that season where just as players, we had a players only meeting a few times, and I think I kind of expressed my feelings, and teammates did the same thing, and we kind of opened up to one another and allowed us as players to believe in one another, and then at the same time in the fourth quarter, when we needed to call on each other, we could do that.
How did you guys, you got a lot of different personalities, a lot of strong personalities from a lot of different places.
Yeah.
Veterans playing, young guys were playing a lot, freshmen there. How did you guys blend together to be close and family-like the way you were?
Yeah, the leader set the tone. From day one, from the time I stepped on this campus, watching the older veterans practice at the tempo they practice, knowing their stuff, the tempo was set, the stage was set. So it was about us as players to keep that momentum going each and every year. And that's exactly what we tried to do. We tried to learn each and every year and set the tone. And it always starts at the top and everything trickles down. And that's kind of what we had to do.
What was the difference with the '97 team that set it apart and made y'all finally kind of get everything?
Well, first of all, we had a ton of talent. That helps for sure. But we also, everybody wanted the same thing. We wanted to win. And we competed every day at practice. I always said that '97 season, practice was harder than the games for us because we were going against Peyton and Jamal and Marcus Nash and Peerless and those guys. So when we got in the game, things kind of slowed down for us. So playing against Peyton and those guys in that offense and being explosive as they were, it just allowed us as a team to really come together. And once we started to win and you started to get that feeling, you want it every week.
What was said after the Florida game that enabled y'all to just not back down because keep thinking you had a chance?
We knew we were the better team. We knew we just gave that game away. We were up big time going into the half, and we knew we were just a better football team. We gave it away. We knew we were the team to beat in the SEC, and we just made sure we played it throughout the season, and made people understand that Tennessee's for real.
Where would you rate the competitiveness from an intensity standpoint with that team on the practice field in '97 compared to '98, compared to '95, compared to scrimmages in the NFL you had with other teams?
Compared to the other teams, it's about equal, but from a talent standpoint, I just think we were so much more talented than the '95 and the '96 team. So competing in practice, it was always about making plays. Defensively, it was about getting to the ball, guys holding each other accountable, and offensively, not turning the ball over, scoring points, and then for us to get the ball back for them as many times as we possibly can. So it was just one of those years and one of those seasons where we knew we had a good football team. It was just about going out and executing and putting the game plan together.
Were you guys more competitive with each other that year? I know you were talented, but it's not just a talent. Peyton didn't want to lose a rep. You didn't want to lose a rep.
Yeah.
Were you guys more competitive than other years?
I believe that '97 season was probably more competitive than the '98 team for sure, simply because we had so many great players and everybody wanted to set a standard and set their mark and let them know where they are as a player. So that '97 team without a doubt was our most talented team, and the competitive nature, from a 1 to 10 scale, it was 10 and a half, 11. I mean, it was intense each and every day. But like I said, it made Saturdays a lot easier for us.
Our game day. You got yelled at a lot by Chavis during the thud drills. You seem to have a problem letting up with it. How much of that was the competitiveness versus just hard for you not to finish plays?
Well, it was just, it's really just about setting the tone. I mean, you practice, you play the way you practice. So if you take time off in practice, if you slow poke and half-ass in practice, then you're gonna do the same thing in the game. And I really just tried to take my approach from practice into the game situation, and that way I didn't have to try to turn it on and off. I was always on.
How did game day atmospheres compare here to the places you played and on the NFL in Denver? And
Yeah,
stuff?
it was. I will say the fans in Denver. What I respected about them were they knew the game. They understood the game, so they understood guys that could really play and made plays. The collegiate level was just guys going out competing against playing for one another rather. But the fan base was second to none. You got to think we were winning. So my 4 years at Tennessee, we were 45-5. So the fans really had something to show up and cheer about. And at that time, it was, 100,000 plus, stadium rocking. It's just those type of things you just can't buy. You can't get that. So Tennessee is absolutely number one on my scale.
We one more. We joked about you as a you joked about you as a running back.
Yeah.
But you did play safety your first couple of
Yeah,
practices.
I did.
How quickly did you realize I'm not staying at safety? I'm going closer. To
Well,
the ball?
I think Chavis and Fulmer knew early on that I wouldn't be there alone. So they just, gave me an opportunity to see what I can do. But I probably knew a couple of weeks in that I wouldn't be doing that simply because I was beating the linebackers to the line of scrimmage versus the run and be a guy running wide open down the middle of the field. So I knew pretty much they were going to bump me up a little bit, and they got me by sending me to the linebacker meeting as the special teams linebacker, but I was still a safety, supposedly. And that was kind of my transition to linebacker. So it worked out for the best.
Al, I got one more. 19 years too late. We couldn't talk to you about this in 1998, but the shoulder subluxation, how bad of an injury was it? And in today's game,
Yeah.
would you have had season-ending surgery after the second
Yeah,
game, or would you have done what you did?
I probably would, if I could do it over again, I probably would have done the same thing. I probably would have just waited and had surgery later on if I needed it. But it was it's tough playing linebacker with one shoulder. I mean, it's a tough thing to do because now you're overcompensating for your other shoulder now. So now both shoulders are hurt. And it's just, it's a mental thing. You learn to fight through the situations. You prepare yourself mentally and physically to go out and play at a high level and play through pain. And, that's kind of what I tried to do.
When did you hurt that originally?
I believe the first time I really heard it was that Houston game in that 98 season. I think that was really the first time I actually really, really heard it. And after that, it was just downhill pretty much the rest of the season.
Thank you.
Cool.